Okay, Hopewell, sit down.
So welcome to American Legion Riders, Caroline County 221 Cav Grog Celebration. We took our chapter name from the 9th Cavalry, 9th Virginia Cav, that was formed in May of 1861.
Hoorah! Rebels.
The Rebels, exactly.
Y'all the charge
My great-great-grandfather was Bravo Company 9th Cav. The officers and enlisted men of the 9th Cav lived in Caroline County, Virginia. Of them, 164 were farmers, 12 were lawyers, 12 were merchants, 12 were clerks, 11 mechanics, 10 teachers, 6 carpenters, 3 sailors, and 11 were listed as illiterate, and the rest were too young to have established an occupation yet. They were still teenagers. Most of the ages ranged from 15 to 26. There were 2 45-year-olds. Another thing was, their height was also very odd. Many of the 9th Cav guys, who were originally called the Light Dragoons, were over 6 feet tall. It was very unique for the Civil War period because the average height of a man in the Civil War was about 5'7". So of the 309 members, 124 died in action during the Civil War, and 81 died from disease, sparing the other 104 to carry on.
Cool.
Riders and guests, before you see a ceremonial bowl. What you're about to experience is a tradition that has been celebrated since the days of the West. The cavalry was responsible for securing the western expansion of the United States. During the time of rest for both man and horse, the Cav troops would all pour their spirits into one large bowl, ensuring that everyone had something to drink. This powerful mixture of drinks is known as grog. This tradition is still carried on today, commemorating the wars and battles that have created an everlasting history for those members of the Cav. To drink the Cavalry Grog is a long-time tradition of identifying the true cavalryman. The punch's ferocity and keen taste can be savored by those cavalry troopers who continue to spur their way to victory. To others, it is a poison with the sting of a scorpion, the bite of a cobra, and the kick of a mule. At this time, the ceremony will officially begin, and I would ask for your utmost attention.
During the Civil War, the cavalry was involved in some of the nation's toughest battles.
Mike,
Who
speak
can
up.
Can't hear you, Mike.
Can't hear you, Mike. Speak up like that there.
Better? Yeah. Who can forget Gettysburg, Antietam, Cold Harbor, and Fredericksburg? Although these men fought till the bitter end during each battle, they also respected each other and cared for each other with first aid, burials, and even food and coffee during the ceasefires. In honor, I add the bottle of Virginia Gentleman.
Yeah!
You that punched up can.
Andrew.
Yeah. To Jim Stewart.
In 1866, the U.S. Cavalry was ordered to assist, protect, and escort settlers to the plains and the western frontier. The Indians were a tenacious and valiant adversary. During the Battle of the Little Bighorn, the regiment experienced its darkest hour and was almost completely destroyed. In honor of General George Armstrong Custer and all his men, I had Blue Sky Vodka, representing the Big Sky battlefields during the time of the Indian Wars.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is good stuff. Oh yeah. It gets better.
August 1866, Major General Phillips H. Sheridan, commanding officer of the military division of Gulf, was authorized to raise, among others, one regiment of African-American cavalry designated to the 9th Regiment of the U.S. Cavalry. The regiment assembled in September 1866 in New Orleans, Louisiana, and mustered there until March 1867. The men had a 5-year enlistment and were paid $13 per month plus room, board, and clothing. They were named the Buffalo Soldiers by the Native American Indians who served with them. Their motto has always been, "We can, we will." And that way, and with that, Cavalry would take its place of honor.
The year was 1898 when the Spanish-American War began. The cavalry troops and their horses were deployed to Cuba, where they remained until 1902. Using the speed and shock of the cavalry, the war was brought to a swift end. The members of the 1st Cav, all volunteer group, called themselves Roosevelt's Rough Riders, for at the time their leader was none other than Colonel Teddy Roosevelt. This conflict consisted of fighting in Cuba, Guam, Philippines, and Puerto Rico. It is my honor to pour Bacardi Puerto Rican rum at this time.
The bat.
The last Horse Cavalry combat was the result of Pancho Villa's attack on Columbus, New Mexico. The year was 1916, and General John Joseph Blackjack Pershing launched a punitive expedition into the dusty desert that secured our border from further Mexican attacks. Remembering those hot, humid days and nights, and the thirst of a true cavalryman, is due reason to add tequila!
During World War I and II, the 2nd and 9th Cavalry were the only horse-mounted soldiers to fight in the European theater. Battles at Argonne Forest in France proved to be one of the deadliest to American soldiers, losing over 117,000 men while fighting against the Germans. Another battle in France along the Marne River took the lives of over 12,000 American soldiers, many of whom served with the 2nd and 9th Cav. During this time, the words "toujours prêt," which means always ready, was added to their crest. Remembering those left in foreign lands, I salute those with French red wine.
Viva la Cavalry!
Man, they're going to give me good.
Let's go!
It seems to be fit.
World War II, with its many fronts and confrontations, begins with the landing at Normandy by the new mechanized cavalry. In a daring raid behind enemy lines, the Cav rescued and freed 1,200 of the famous Lipizzaner show horses. Hitler was hiding them in the hostile Czechoslovakia, and the approaching Russian army were going to slaughter them for meat. The 2nd Armored Calves on their own developed Operation Cowboy and traveled 35 miles behind enemy lines to set them free. General George S. Patton, a horse enthusiast, was extremely pleased when he heard of this accomplishment. In the truest form of honor, respect, commitment, this brandy flows free as the horse in the wind. June 1950, North Korea launches a massive attack on our allies in the south. Quickly the Cav found itself fighting the waves of Union communists inside the Korean perimeter. During the following 3 years that followed, the 1/7 Cav proved to be instrumental in turning the tide of the war to victory. Advancing over 116 miles into North Korean territory, experiencing the harshest winter's months known to man, in honor of both Frozen Man and Machine, coffee, to forever warm our hearts.
That's decaf.
I can drink it now. I can drink it now.
November 15, 1965, landing zone X-ray in Los Valley of South Vietnam. The 1/7 Cavalry faced 3 full regiments of North Vietnam Army. The battle lasted over 12 hours, with 1 regiment completely destroyed and 2 others significantly mauled. The 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 11th, and 12th Cavalry all experienced combat action in the jungles of Vietnam, serving honorably and valiantly. Mechanized all the way, here we go, both on land and air. Cheers to the red, white, and blue. I add Budweiser. Cheers! To the team!
All right.
You can tell I don't drink that much beer. We'll work on it a little bit.
Close your eyes.
Yeah.
Cheers to the stuff.
They put coffee in that grave.
August 1990, Saddam Hussein chose to invade Kuwait. Thus began Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Operation Enduring, and Iraqi Freedom. The scorching hot battlefield of Kuwait, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia proved to be a challenge for the Bradleys, Abrams, and Black Hawks alike. Even though they had less accident-free miles, ate more dust, drank less booze than any other cavalry regiment in history, brown sugar to represent the desert scene. Olive water.
Easy on the water.
At Lowndes and for Old Bill. Throughout the years, we have seen the mighty cavalry continue to grow, persevere, and most importantly, evolve. In the beginning, a brave trooper wielding a saber on a mighty steed charged into battle against the elements, Mother Nature, and the enemy. Eventually, the cavalry trooper traded in his mighty friend and steed, the warhorse, to the heavy and powerful armor. Tanks of all shapes and sizes ruled the battlefield. Next to join the ranks of the fearless cavalry came the birds of prey, aircraft. Whether on the ground or in the air, the cavalry has always been there. In honor of the warbirds and aircraft, JP4.
There's a mountain too.
How long?
Riders and friends of the 221st Cav, in no way is this foul brew fit for human consumption. For I believe it is still missing at least one thing, and that thing being champagne.
Command and drive.
Oh my.
I gotta have at least
Yeah, I gotta.
At this time, I would like to ask Commander Shriver if he would please come forward. Commander Shriver, please test this grog and see if it is fit for your troops.
Oh, Lord.
In recognition of all soldiers, sailors, and airmen who have either given the ultimate sacrifice or just hung up their hats and spurs to go across the river to rest beneath the shade of the tree, as quoted by General Stonewall Jackson on his deathbed as he lay in Caroline County. At this time, we will begin to fill the glasses, and we want each one to come up and have a toast with us. So everybody's got to try it. We got to have everybody. We're going to start filling the glasses here in the front for the Cav, my troops, and then we're going to have these other glasses up here. We want everybody to come forward and please have some. But don't drink them. Once you get your glass full or your shot glass full, just hold on to it. We're going to do one final toast, okay?
No smoking. You gotta at least walk a little bit.
I can walk.
You gotta at least walk a little bit.
I can walk.